Hi there, welcome to or welcome back to Tip Reads Books, where I read books and I talk to you about them. This is the first weekly chat of 2025. I thought I would keep doing them. I liked how I was able to give you a weekly wrap and things I'm working on reading at the same time without taking up too much of your time or spending forever trying to remember what I liked and didn't like about each book every single month. Especially last year when I was reading 26 books in the beginning of the year. Whew, it was a lot. Probably won't be doing that this year. Real quick at the beginning, I thought I would give you a breakdown of kind of how I'm going to do things this year regarding book goals. My big thing this year is to not focus so much on the numbers, but focus more on reading more in depth and thinking more about each book before I give the review, spending a little bit more time with it, and trying to be a little bit more intentional and mindful with the things that I review and how I review them. I really enjoy doing the deeper reviews and spending more time with the book, and I think I wasn't doing that as much last year. On the flip side, partway through the year, I kind of slowed way down, but not in a way that I think helped with the intentionality that I was trying to do, because I was doing a book tracker, and I got overwhelmed with how many squares. I was crocheting granny squares for each book that I read, and I got really overwhelmed with it. So this year I'm doing a scarf, and I'm doing a 2007 style skinny scarf, picture for reference, just for something silly. It's going to be silly, and each row is only going to take me maybe 10 minutes, not the amount of time that doing a granny square blanket was going to take me. My granny square blanket is still in individual pieces over there, and I need to put it together. So I am hoping that this will make me enjoy things more, because I stopped reading a lot of manga and graphic novels because I was reading them very rapidly, and I was like, that's so many squares. So I don't want that to happen this year, where I want to be able to pick up and enjoy manga or graphic novels, even though I can finish a high amount of them in a week or a month or a day even. I don't want it to discourage me from picking them up because I have to track them. So if the book tracker gets to be too much, I just won't do it. So that's the hope. I did not bring the book tracker down here with me to show you, but so I will show you next week when there are more books on it. It's cute, it's skinny, it's only about this wide, and I picked some very fun late aughts colors, actually inspired by a shirt that I have once had at Hot Topic. I don't think I have any pictures of it, but yeah, I loved this shirt. So the colors are very much inspired by that shirt that I had. Okay, so that brings us to, what have I read so far? We're January 6th. We're a full nearly week into the year, and I have actually finished 2 books so far. So off to a little bit of a slow start. I had a crazy mishap with a curtain rod this weekend that took up a good chunk of my day to fix. New builds, man, they are not that great. So I have finished 2 audiobooks so far. I finished The Song of Achilles, which was recommended to me by my friend Drew on Instagram, and unfortunately, Drew and I disagree on how good this book is. It was one of his top books of last year, and it's my first 2-star book of the year. I asked a bunch of my friends on Instagram back in November to recommend me their best book so far, or one they thought that was going to be in their top for the end of the year, and I would put it on January TBR and read it. So I have 9 books that I'm trying to read this month. Here is the graphic of those books and who recommended them to me on Instagram. A lot of these people I talk to on a daily basis, so I thought it would be really fun to read some of the stuff that they recommended me. I am scared for how it's going. I've already DNF'd one of them as well. So my Song of Achilles review is long and it is up. I did a full spoiler review, but the short message of it is I didn't connect with the characters. I didn't find the retelling inspiring. I didn't find the love story romantic. I found it forced, and I don't think that aligns with most people's interpretation of the book or the original relationship between Achilles and Patroclus in the Iliad. This made me really want to pick up the Iliad, for sure. That I think started struggling after I finished it, because my mood reader brain just wanted to go and pick up the Iliad, and I can't, because I have other things to read. So maybe this year I'll revisit that. I read some of it in high school, but not a big fan, unfortunately. The next book I DNF'd actually on December 31st. It was going to be my first read of the month. I wanted to start early because I didn't have any audiobooks going, and I had this hold from the library, The Blacktongue Thieves. Unfortunately, I cannot remember the name of the author. I DNF'd this for 2 reasons. One, the audio narrator is the author, and apparently he does a stage show at Renaissance fairs as this kind of insult comic character. And I feel like he took that character into his book, and that kind of describes the tone of the book. And he narrates it with a very fake Irish accent, so bad that I sent screen recordings of it to my friend from Derry to be like, sir, sir, please laugh at this with me. And he was like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna read this whole book. Thank you so much. He's like, this is so bad. I just want to laugh at it. And I'm like, I'm glad you can get humor out of it, because I can't do it. I can't do it. It sounds like, my boyfriend said it sounds like a teenager at a high school party trying to do an Irish accent to impress a bunch of girls. My other friend said the humor of it, which is very much haha, tits, dick, balls, fart. Like, that's pretty much the humor in the first 45 minutes of the book that I made myself listen to. He was like, yeah, the humor of this guy sounds like the loudest man in the local Weatherspoons. So, I was like, yeah, I don't think this book is for me. So I unfortunately DNF'd The Blacktongue Thieves. I may pick it up physically, but I really think the humor in it wasn't gonna be for me. Humor is so subjective, and it's so hard to like really know going into something if it's going to be your type of humor. It's supposed to be a little grimdark and a little funny at the same time. I didn't find it funny. So, the next book I did finish, is Cursed Cocktails by S.L. Rowland. I really wanted to like this one. This is a cozy fantasy inspired by Legends and Lattes. The name used to actually be Curses and Cocktails. I guess S.L. Rowland asked Travis Baldree if he could name it that way, and Baldree was like, yeah, cool, fine with me. And then Rowland decided to change it to something else because he felt it was making too strong of a connection that he didn't want people to make, according to what I read last year when I was looking for this book. And I was like, wait, why can't I find the book under that name? So I got this one through Libby. The first 3 books the one I DNF'd and the other 2 that I finished are actually from Libby so far. So I got this one from Libby through the Queer Liberation Library, which is a free additional library you can get. There are a couple of links. I'll see if I can find one. It took me a little while to get my card processed. You have to go through like a request period, and then the holds are very long. Like, I think I was on hold for this book for like 3 or 4 months. So I was kind of hoping I was going to enjoy it. But I think it wasn't even the coziness of it that didn't work for me. It was the way the plot was done. And I'm normally like a character-driven girly. I love me some deep character work, but there wasn't enough character work here for that either. The plot kind of jumped. Each chapter felt like a vignette of a story, and it just didn't work. It was about this retired blood mage setting up a bar at a seaside town, which I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. There were like a cocktail recipe like every 2 or 3 chapters, and it started to just kind of feel forced giving the recipe in the book. It just kind of started to feel a little forced, and I think it could have been about 50% of the length, and I probably would have enjoyed it more. There was a very cool cat and a spirit fox that I liked. I thought the conflict, because even a cozy should have a conflict, I thought the conflict was going to be something entirely different than it was, and I think there was no conflict leading up to the like end where there was finally something in the plot. Because, not to go too deep into this, but in Legends and Lattes, Viv had like hiccups getting her coffee shop going. She needed things she didn't realize she needed, and there was like delays and things she had to deal with other people and all this stuff. There were small conflicts. This was very slice of life, and I think if it had been a little more humorous or spent more time developing the character, I would have enjoyed it. It's not that I don't like slice of life things. One of my favorite things is like How to Be a House Husband, or I can't remember what it's called because I haven't watched it in a while, but it was one of my favorite like anime things that I watched in a little like for the last few years. I actually really enjoyed it. I like blew through everything. The Way of the House Husband, that's what it was. And it's just this little slice of life silly little thing about a guy who was in the mafia, who is now a house husband. Like, it's his adventures dealing with that. And I really enjoyed it because there were tiny little conflicts. One of his conflicts was the cat in the house, like trying to keep the house clean around a very messy cat. There was not enough like conflict in it to really keep me interested, where I was just like, okay, let's get through this. Mostly I was just bored. So that's my little review of Cursed Cocktails by S.L. Rowland. Independent author. I have read one of his other things. Check him out. He's not a bad writer. It just wasn't what I needed it to be. So those are the things I've finished. I'm working on a few things right now. The stack behind me. So let me grab them and show you what I'm working on. First up is Jade War. I had this recommended to me by actually two people. One was this Instagram handle, Pippin something. I can't remember the Instagram handle name fully. And the other was my friend Emily, who I talk to all the time. And I also picked up Jade Legacy because of her recommendation. So my hope is to get through these two books. So, cross your fingers for me because I'm struggling a little bit. I did pick this up digitally and that seemed to help a little bit. I also picked it up audio in case I start to struggle more because Libby had both available. I have this book in all three formats, so please let me get through this month because I am on the struggle bus with this one. Sequel to Jade City. I really enjoyed Jade City. I think the writing in the beginning of this one is just a little bit of a struggle because we're trying so hard to fill in the gaps of things that have happened because there's a big time jump between the two. So I'm hoping we'll settle into the story at present and I will settle into the writing and enjoy the story at that point. Biggest problem is I don't like Hilo. I really don't like Hilo at all. But I do like Shay. So I'm getting more Shay and I think that helped me get through more of the pages. So fingers crossed. One is The Priory of the Orange Tree. Got this on a 2-month-long buddy read. So not a big deal. I need to read 20 pages a day this week to catch up. And then after that, only 15 pages a day to finish on time. So it should not be a problem to read it when I'm reading the other things. The biggest problem is I really liked those first 10 pages and I was like, oh shit, if I keep reading this, I'm not gonna read anything else. So hopefully I can pace myself a little bit and still finish some other things. Really, really enjoying this. So yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to read this for a while. I've had it on my shelf since last March. So hopefully I can finish it this year. Hopefully I can finish it by February. The last thing I have not started reading yet, but I got in the mail and I wanted to show you. This came in the mail on December 26th, and I am so excited to finish out this duology. I keep staring at it going, oh my god, I want to read that. Oh my god, I want to read that. But I'm trying really hard to stick to a TBR this month. Please let me stick to a TBR this month. So I am like turning this away from me constantly. So I'm going to leave it down here so that I don't see it all the time. Although I am about to rearrange this whole room so that I can actually use it as an office because I want this room to feel cozy. So maybe I'll do a little, I've got most of it picked up so I can do a little like room sweep, show you everything and then show you what it looks like after, not in this video, but when I finish it, I'll have a little video so that I can show you what it's like. So I'm excited to read this, looking forward to it, and that's something I'm looking for. The last thing that I have started reading is I am about 20% into The Tainted Cup. It's my current audio read. This is by Robert Jackson Bennett. It is a fantasy, kind of urban-ish, but not modern era, but it feels kind of urban. It's a mystery as well. It's kind of Sherlock inspired. There's these leviathans and these city walls, and there's like breaches in the walls, and then there's humans that are getting this virus that's causing plants to grow out of their body, and it's just dark enough that it is scratching that horror itch that I realized I needed because I looked at my TBR for this month and this is so much fantasy for me. I'm like, where's my horror? So this is giving me some elements of the darker kind of things that I needed. It's got some really good world building. I wasn't sure about it at first. I set it aside all day yesterday and then came back to it today and was like, wait, no, okay, I'm actually really enjoying this. So looking forward to finishing that. I've got about, at the speed I'm listening to, about 4.5 hours left. And I think I'll definitely get through it in the next couple of days, which is good because there's 11 people waiting for my Libby copy. So hopefully we'll get through that. Just a quick personal thing that I like to try and do in these. One of my goals, personal goals this year is to get a few, I think I said 5 crochet projects finished this year. And I'm working on one currently. This is going to be a glove there's going to be a second one too, but it's going to be a little fingerless glove. So this will be like, once I finish it, my first finished wearable. And this is just with some excess yarn from actually a really pretty scarf that my boyfriend's mother made me, and she gave me all the extra yarn from it. So I have enough, I think, to make a pair of these gloves for a friend who was always sending me knits, and I was like, hey, I finally know if I can get gloves that look nice, I can send them to her. So I just wanted to share these because I'm really excited that they are cute, and I think they're going to actually be wearable. So hopefully we'll get there. All the things I need to weave in, and it's still attached. So that was very rushed. My chair is sinking and my phone is dying, so I'm gonna call that for this video. And I hope this was entertaining enough for you. It was entertaining for me to try and film this very rapidly before my phone dies, and I will see you Saturday, and I'm just like sliding down the screen. I'll see you soon.